Thanks for joining us for Political Talk on another PolitiPod Live. Here to discuss current political events. Tonight we'll cover Piro defendant beats the rap, SCOTUS, Greenland, religion, Epstein, and bringing up the rear, the Trump dump. We'll also have our segments Fascism Creeps and Issue Update. I'm Tom Bickle.
And I'm Matt Nisanoff.
And we'll start with
The Piro defendant beats the rap.
that's right.
Yeah. So, there's a guy who's up for felony charges for aiming a laser at the presidential helicopter, Marine One.
Just good, clean fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who doesn't enjoy a laser now and again?
Yeah, why not blind a pilot when you have a chance?
Exactly. We do not know the religious affiliation of this laser. Just as a disclaimer.
Nor whether it was from space.
Well, the fella apparently who did this has been acquitted recently by a jury in Washington, D.C., because they reached a decision in 35 minutes. It took them 35 minutes to say, yeah, this is ridiculous.
This jury was not sequestered for yeah.
Right. Not even long enough to order pizza. So the Swift verdict
not for lunch. That's how sure they were.
Exactly. Or how obvious it was. The Swift verdict of not guilty in the case of Jacob Winkler represents another high-profile defeat for Jeannie Pirro, the former Fox News host who Trump appointed to be the U.S. attorney for the nation's capital. He does not do well naming people U.S. attorneys. And here's another fine example.
One of the best people, Matt.
I'm sure some of them are lovely people.
I'm not.
So, in any case, the office has pursued harsh penalties against individuals accused of attacking federal officers or threatening the president, but they just keep failing. They failed again and again, and here, in the case of Jacob Winkler, yet again.
Yeah, they're doing great. Thank God, Matt. Thank God these people aren't as smart as they are evil. We'd be really screwed. It would all be over by now. I'm not sure it isn't, but it would be in the bag. Thank God they can't find their ass with both hands in a map, because we'd be in deep, deep trouble.
Too true. Too true. And I mean, that extends all the way over to actually our next issue, which is the Supreme Court. And there are some issues that they're looking at. I think they did one yesterday, but they're looking at several different cases. They're looking at Trump's tariffs, and they added 4 other cases recently. A dispute on, on warrants, and there was something about Roundup weed killer that's made its way all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Social Security Administration turned over anything that you care to say about the SCOTUS in general?
No, nothing to add about that. Just I hope, just a silent prayer, like when you blow out a candle at a birthday party, you make a wish. You hoping for the best. That's all.
Perfect. Well, the Social Security Administration has turned over 2 Doge goons to the Department of Justice. This fits under justice. The violations related to the Hatch Act, which is an act that says when you're a government employee, you're not supposed to use the information from the government to pass on for partisan political purposes, which is, I believe, now called regular, everyday work.
Right. Standard operating procedure.
By the Trump folks. And these 2 particularly cited for having taken Social Security records and passing them on to a group that was trying to match voting records regarding the election fraud charges in the 2020 election. So there we have an actual act of follow through. Which, hey, I think that's great. That's a step in the right direction. And hopefully these two will not be the last two. We'll see how
Absolutely.
quick it takes Trump to pardon them. No doubt. That brings us to our first segment of the evening, actually. I tell you what, if you'd like to take away fascism creeps.
Absolutely.
There we go.
There we go. That's where the money went. Yeah, fascism creeps. Our segment. We rotate in and out. Immigration officers assert sweeping power to enter homes without a judge's warrant. Memo says. So yeah, this is broke today. Out of Washington, federal immigration officers are asserting sweeping power to forcibly enter people's homes without a judge's warrant, according to an internal immigration and customs enforcement memo, otherwise known as ICE, obtained by the Associated Press, making a sharp reversal of longstanding guidance meant to respect constitutional limits on government searches. The memo authorizes ICE officers to use force to enter a residence based solely on a more narrow administrative warrant to arrest someone with a final order of removal, a move that advocates say collides with the Fourth Amendment protections, and upends years of advice given to immigrant communities. So,
Right.
I don't want to say I told you so, not to your face, but I have been banging this drum that they were given instructions and then we're also given, people get hit by a bulldozer and it's hard to reconcile the two. And now you can see partly why. It's in the manual. They've decided they're going to do what they want with anything they've written down themselves, apparently. I may be overstating it slightly, but it's not a judge's warrant, so I don't know what they think they're doing.
Right. Fair point, and you're absolutely right. And it does seem that it has to get far more worse before it gets better uh, in the immediate future. And next thing, they're doing this against the Fourth Amendment and due process. And the next thing is they'll be moving into the houses and violating the Third Amendment, and they're going to be trying to take over and live in the houses as well.
Yeah,
So it's actually it's actually heartbreaking that this is occurring in America.
it is. It's devastating. It's traumatizing. It's some bow. It's bad, and it's off to the cattle car for you. And somebody else will move into your house. We've seen this story before.
Sure. And well, look, it's not like they were blinding people or trying to shoot people in the face. Oh, look,
Oh,
right
right.
here. There's federal agents blind protesters. U.S. federal forces permanently blind two protesters shot in the face at close range with less lethal munitions during anti-ICE protests last week in Santa Ana, California. So the less lethal part is that it didn't kill them, it just blinded them.
Would you believe slightly less lethal? It's just less. Yeah, you know what? These less lethal munitions. You know this, and I know this, and it makes me angry to have to say it. They're not meant to be used at point blank in your face range. Rubber bullets are meant to hit the street and ricochet up and hit you in the pant legs, having depleted some of their inertia. You're not supposed to aim for the eyes, which they do. One of these two people who were blinded, one of them took a whatever it was, shrapnel or a round. Oh, it was shot him at close range with less lethal munitions. Pierced his eye, almost hit him in the brain and killed him. Like, lucky to be alive, lucky to be blinded in one eye, and not dead and in the cold ground. You're not supposed to use less than lethal munitions this way. I mean, you can't take a pepper ball gun and then club somebody over the head with it and claim it's a lethal, less than lethal munition. It's an abuse of the weapon and the authority and duty that they allegedly, owe to the public. And I'm not
This is
okay with it.
true. This is true. And it's all the stuff. It's all in their playbook. It's all that they're doing, and they will continue to try. What is the story about the cities cutting the contracts? You have more
Cities cut
information?
contracts with Flock Safety, an AI license plate tracker, after ICE and Border Patrol used its data to monitor U.S. drivers and investigate No Kings and anti-ICE protests. Home Depot investors demand review. Yeah, so apparently they have been using AI against citizens and protesters, and apparently they've stopped that supposedly. So, yay.
Well, right, exactly. A would be the right question because we don't know that they have, and frankly, it's hard to tell with facial recognition and with the advances in it, not only in the U.S. but in China, where uh, they've honed the facial recognition technology, and the U.S. picks up on that and uses it too. So it's very I they say they stopped it. I don't know how to check that. I don't know how to verify what they're saying.
Yeah,
Trust but
not a lot of,
verify.
exactly. Not a lot of trust right now.
Yeah. Well, but there was some good news, and that's from out in Minnesota. A federal judge out there has banned federal agents from arresting or detaining or pepper spraying or any sort of retaliating against peaceful protesters unless there's a reasonable suspicion of a crime. Now, that's what they're supposed to be doing in the first place.
Right.
They're only supposed to be going after. I mean, the way they sold it initially was they're going to go after criminals, and everybody said, "Oh, wonderful, go after criminals," because who wouldn't want to go after criminals? But they've
Yeah,
used that as an excuse all along. So we'll see. I mean, here we are again. The judge is saying it, so let's see if there's some sort of repercussion when they do it tomorrow.
exactly right. It's who's going to enforce it, and how's that going to go? I'm waiting to see, and we're all waiting to see, and it's going on a day after day.
And ICE is expanding. Apparently, they've gone new places now. Apparently, they've been deploying in Maine. I don't know exactly which part, but it's been there's been reports from Facebook posts of people from Maine who are now saying ICE is there too.
The uh,
Although
the the post I saw was a video. A video, it was on Facebook, but it was from Aaron Parnas. He's a journalist, and he's broken a lot of other national news before. So that's one thing that gives credence to it. I haven't been able to find any press on it just before showtime tonight, but it's late breaking. I don't know. So Aaron Parnas is pretty reliable in my book, but we'll see.
have to keep an ear on it, and it would make sense. They're trying to expand into as many places as possible, and Maine does border a foreign country. So yeah, a
You
real
can't be
threat.
too careful, Matt.
Um, let's see what else is going on there. There's now what's going on since September. Homeland Security officers have shot 11 people during immigration enforcement, killing three. Most incidents involving firing into vehicles. This is almost an update from various stories we've heard recently. Experts warn that there's a troubling pattern as ICE and CBP, thank you, are expanding, which right there, I mean, ICE is expanding into one place and another, and they continue to use this farcical argument of potentially being run over without being injured to justify shooting and murdering um, everyday people just driving their cars. Well, what do you got next?
Well, next we've got a little bit of video from Face the Nation over the weekend. Apparently, not every news outlet over at CBS has gotten the memo to kiss the ring and bend the knee and part the cheeks. Uh, they gave Kristi Noem a run for her money on Face the Nation, keeping her honest, noting facts, and sticking to not just bowling over and asking next question, next question, next question. So I thought that was worthwhile. A little bit of media hit there, because CBS has not acquitted itself well, not covered themselves in glory of late. So I thought that was we got some video with Kristi Noem.
I'd like to see that video.
All right, we'll cue that up.
Kristi Noem is a bird-legged hoe. I said Kristi Noem is a bird-legged hoe. Oh, Kristi Noem is a bird-legged hoe. That hoe has got to go.
I'm sorry, Matt. That was the wrong video.
Is that the evening news guy singing that? Or
I think this is Don Lemon. No,
no.
No, I don't know who anyway. Chelsea Gods is credited here. No, that's go to that correct video.
Well, let me talk to you about the officer, Jonathan Ross. He was struck. He was hospitalized.
Don't say his name. I mean, for heaven's sakes, we shouldn't have people continue to dox law enforcement when they have an 8,000% increase in death threats against them. I know, but that doesn't mean it should continue to be said. His life, he got attacked with a car that was trying to take his life, and then the people have attacked him and his family, and they are in jeopardy. And we have law enforcement officers every day who are getting death threats and getting attacked at their hotels.
Well, can you tell me about his status right now?
Ice thrown at them and getting.
Well, of course, no one condones violence against anyone. But here, CBS reported that he did have internal bleeding in the torso, but he was released that same day. So is he back at work? Did you give him the required 3 days of suspension?
We followed the exact same protocols that we always have for years as to investigations into these situations. But
3 days of
I'm not going to talk
administrative
about his
leave?
medical records. I know that you know that in itself is his prerogative to decide.
So yeah, that was Kristi Noem on Face the Nation, and I got to say that the interviewer there did a pretty fastidious job. Kept after her. She tried to say that 75% of the people they picked up are criminals, and she said the interviewer noted that her own figures put it more around 47%. Good work.
They did right. So the interviewer, I agree with you, did a much better job than a lot of other interviewers will do because they want to retain access or whatever the excuse is. But yeah, this was a good example, and it's just so heartening to see Kristi Noem clinging to people having rights.
Well, rights for me, but not for thee, is how it ends up going.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right. You got to do the best you can when you're a bird-legged hoe. That's so catchy. I don't like the misogyny of calling her a hoe. Sex work is real work, but she's a bird-legged hoe.
In this case, right? But right. Okay. Very good. So let's move on from there. I think we should move on to our next issue, which is the green and the ice and present. Oh, green or ice? I mean, it's called Greenland, but it was called that
made of ice.
Try to deceive people to go there because it's
for
actually
a little
ice.
while longer. It's made of ice.
Exactly. Yeah. But so you know, you've heard the latest, I'm sure. Donald Trump has hit 8 countries with increased tariffs to try to pressure Greenland into being sold to him. And
right.
The EU officials are actually, you're talking about good examples of how to respond. The EU officials are calling the tariffs blackmail. They're holding emergency meetings and considering $107 billion in retaliatory tariffs, and could wind up creating a new trade war. And actually, it was very interesting at the big economic summit that's going on right now. The almost every European leader took a turn at the podium to say something about here's here's where we are now. This is the time we face reality. Things are changing, and it's going to be it's not going to be all for the good, and it's not going to be pleasant. But we've got to recognize what's actually happening here. That they all stand with Greenland and stand by their NATO commitments. And if one country decides to attack Greenland, they are in violation of NATO regulations and policy, and that the European nations will get together and defend their fellow NATO country, Greenland, Denmark. And so that was very heartening. And in fact, there were speeches calling to reassess where trade is being done and how it's being done and what alignments can happen, all because the U.S. is being seen as not reliable, not a partner, as we have been for 90 years since World War II. So that this playing around with tariffs and playing around with trying to make himself rich may well have repercussions that realign the world's alliances.
Breathtaking. For no good reason. For what? For nothing. For a loss of no gain. No gain. For a loss of any number of metrics. And yeah, Davos, the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, gave that speech. Have you seen the speech? Have you heard it?
I have. Wonderful. I mean, it was really,
I read it.
Yeah, really spot on.
Yeah, just bracing and calm and clear. And you forget politicians can do that sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really coming up roses these days. I'm not terrified for the future at all.
Well, and in that speech, you were saying middle powers have to figure out how to realign because this is not something that is going to happen. This is something that has already happened, and we've got to face reality, and we've got to adjust to what's here, what's happening. And the whole thing kicked off with this demand that Trump wrote in a letter to Greenland complaining about not being given the Nobel Peace Prize by Norway because Greenland knows where Norway is, I guess. I don't know how the connection was made in his mind, but he took out his anger at not getting a Nobel Peace Prize at a country that has absolutely nothing to do with the Nobel Peace Prize.
Right. It's stupid on top of it's so many flaky layers of stupid. It's like a baklava of stupidity folded onto itself. He's blaming a country because someone in that country didn't give him a prize. It'd be like if he blamed Gavin Newsom for not winning American Idol, even though he was never on the show. And then it's ridiculous.
Too true.
And he's toying with World War III. I saw someone I listened to has usually good commentary and analysis say that Trump actually did try to launch either a study of how to attack Greenland or make a move on Greenland, and the military wouldn't go for it. I haven't seen that noted anywhere else in the world. So as far as I'm concerned, that's just something someone said on the internet and worth every penny you paid for it.
Well, I'll tell you. Yeah, right. That's true too. But I really don't believe it, and I'll tell you why. Because the military, for decades, when there's something initially brought up like a stupid, crazy thing, a president will bring up, and the Pentagon will release a statement saying, "Oh, right, no, we're not going to do that. That's just crazy talk." And then about 3 days later, very quietly, without any sort of press release, they start making plans to do exactly what it is. It's not necessarily with follow through of doing it, but they always, within a couple of days, double back and do what they were asked. And so they may, if this thing, if that story is true,
Yeah.
I would not be at all shocked to later learn that there's a full set of plans on how to attack Greenland and what to do and where to met. Not that they are necessarily going to follow through on it, but they will have planned it out thoroughly.
Huh.
I'm sure they will.
I hear you. All right. Well, I guess we'll find out together.
Exactly. Oh, you're enlisting too?
They don't want all this. I'm about as likely as you are, I think.
Nice. Excellent.
Not to insult you. I'm just saying.
You're too kind. No, I run a 20-minute mile like that.
I couldn't fall downhill that fast.
Alrighty. Well, speaking of falling down.
Yeah, big time.
No. Yeah, let us move on to our next issue, which in this case is religion. Oh, actually, before we do that.
Yes.
Wait, before we do move on to religion, was there another map of Greenland that you have by any chance?
I'm afraid I don't.
You did not. Okay, so let's move on to religion, and we can pray for one next week. Okay, right. Religion. Breaching a little new ground here. We are going to look at religion and a couple of stories that we've found. For instance, in New Hampshire, there's a Christian bishop, Rob Hirschfeld, and he warns that clergy, their wills written in wake of Renee Good's death do not call for violence, but said people of Christian faith should prepare for new era of martyrdom. And that cannot be good.
I mean, it depends on how fast you want to meet Jesus, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
if you look at it that way.
Sure.
Well, I thought that was the whole thing with when you're a really devout believer, and you want to protect the downtrodden and the meek, so that they can inherit the earth and whatnot. Some people really put their money where their soul is. And I took it in that they said they should be prepared to throw themselves at the gears of this machinery or something like that. Yeah, it's a little extreme. But
when it comes as a message from I don't know if he said it in a press conference or from the pulpit or whatever his flavor of Christianity calls the tall thing that he speaks from, or the podium that he speaks from. It would have certain implications then as well, but that they should not call for violence, but prepare for a new era of martyrdom. I don't know if it was a religious figure, but there's already been that. I believe he was a veteran, actually, who set himself on fire outside of the White House.
Yeah.
That was a couple of months ago. And if you have someone of a religious position and authority saying, this is the thing that we got to do, that could cause a lot of things to happen. And to find out something else that's been going on, an LA priest, Corey Laverge. I don't speak French. Can you help me out?
Laverne, I think, is how it's.
Laverne?
Yeah.
Corey Laverne. He was arrested on 3 counts of indecent behavior with a juvenile hours after presiding over Mass and reigniting diocese abuse scandal. And because of that, last month, paying $305 million to 800 survivors. So they paid the survivors made these payouts to the survivors, or some survivors, and yet went right back to the whole thing. I've also seen a number of articles of there's some Orthodox rabbis who have come up on charges, and one here in Brooklyn, who apparently they were going to some of his neighbors are trying to force him to be released from custody on the argument that he's getting old and that his family misses him. And there's some advocates on the other side saying, yeah, well, he's destroyed some people's lives, and then followed up by trying to get the community to chastise the victims. So maybe he's earned being where he is, and maybe you shouldn't try to release him. But the word is that the district attorney is seriously considering some kind of a pardon, or some sort of a release, not a pardon.
Well, I'm showing here the Guardian says the records show Laverne made bail in the amount of $15,000 in less than 90 minutes after he was jailed to secure his release from custody pending the outcome of the case.
Wow.
That's from yesterday, no, from the 18th.
90 minutes. That's got to be.
That's got to be like a revolving door. I'm sorry they slowed him down. Jeez, poor guy. Here's your hat. Sorry to have bothered you.
Really, I don't even know what movie could he have even gotten in 90 minutes.
Right? You can't get reservations for dinner.
Crazy. So that's where religion is taking you nowadays.
Pretty much all days.
Yeah. And on we move. We're off to the second of our segments. We're going to do an issue update. And this is something we started just because we cover a lot of stories over a lot of time. And sometimes things that we've talked about before kind of pop up again, and something's happened in it, and in the events or in the issue. And it's always, I think, reasonable to let you know what's happening. In this case, apparently, it's been revealed that Trump ripped out the presidential bunker he fled to in 2020. So everybody's seen the pictures of the East Wing being decimated. Everyone's heard the stories about a ballroom/conference room, or whatever it is that the claim is, that's 4 times the size of the rest of the building, and all this kind of thing. But actually, there have been some who apparently there are reports of huge cement cylinders that are used in the construction of underground, adding in additional space underground. And there's questions of what is it that's being added in under the ballroom that we're not hearing about. And so there's a news story that's springing up, and we'll have to follow that. But that's an update from the destruction of the East Wing. Let's look at the Black Hawk Army pilot, Chris Busby. He married Stephanie Velasquez. 48 hours later, she was arrested by ICE at a check-in, and he spent 6 weeks trying to free her, despite pending asylum and no criminal record. So we were talking earlier about the excuses that can be used to allegedly go after criminals, and they're not going after criminals. They're just grabbing anybody they can. In this case, a woman who had just gotten married to a veteran. And
anybody and everybody they can.
Right. Obviously, it's an attempt at provocation and trying to cause some sort of larger incident. So, Now, there's something else going on. What's going on with the Uvalde trials? Do you have something on that?
Well, I saw there's breaking news. Apparently, the former school police officer found not guilty on all counts, and that news is still breaking. Hard to find good information on it, but looks like he's getting away with it.
Well, what we can say is there is there's a long history of officers not even being challenged, much less actually charged for the actions that they are responsible for. In this
Sure.
one, there were only 2 of the 374 officers who stood around and let children be evaporated by the fire of high power weapons, and 2 were supposed to be facing some sort of justice or consequence. And the first of the 2 is what you're saying is has just been found not guilty on all counts, which is also, unfortunately, also the trend, so to speak, that there's there's a fellow at a university who has a database on when police are taken in or held accountable and what happens. And what they found was over the past X number of years, whatever it was, there's been only 2 cases really where officers have gone to court over their actions that resulted in someone being killed. One, there was a young lady who was killed right in front of him, and the Maryland courts found that the officer did not have an obligation to protect her. That he had a larger obligation to the general in public to protect people, but not her specifically. So he couldn't be held accountable for her death. And then there was a second officer, same similar situation where someone had died because of his actions or because of his being at the place and the actions that he took, and the court case found him not guilty. And so this is, as ugly as this is, it is also in line with absolutely everything that has happened before. And with this guy going free, this is just one of the lackeys. I mean, the guy who was the chief police officer in Uvalde is also going to be going to court. I think they had not set a date on his because Arredondo, his name, Chief Arredondo, and I don't think they set a date because they wanted to move it out of Uvalde so that he would get a fair trial. All those kids who will not ever serve on a jury will certainly not say a word against him, I'm sure. But it's been moved to another jurisdiction so that he can have a fair hearing. So we'll see what happens with him, and if this trend of the not guilty is continued. Onward to onward to the Epstein issue, the Epstein files. And how can you not follow up with that? Department of Justice is against a special master, what's called a special master. So the Congress passed a law and the president signed the law that said that all of the documents related to the Epstein file had to be released on a specific day. That day came and went. A month afterwards, they came out and said, well, there's actually 5 million pages or something along those lines, and that what we've actually released is 0.06% or something like that. Not even just over 0.5% or something along those lines, and you're probably never going to see all of it. Well, there's been a request to have a special master, what the courts call them, special master over it to review and see what they can be done about getting all those documents released, because that's the law. That's what's supposed to happen. And the DOJ is asking a federal judge to deny the request. And they argue that the representatives, Representative Kahana, who is a Democrat from California, and Massey, who is a Republican from Kentucky, the DOJ is arguing that they lack standing and that Judge Engelmeyer lacks the authority to grant the request. So if a judge doesn't have the standing and the two representatives don't have standing to ask for it, well, then what can we do? I mean, I guess there just won't be a special master. And it looks like that has actually been, the judge denied it. Now, is that, I don't know if that is Judge Engelmeyer who made that call or not, but apparently
it is. In a court order Wednesday, Judge Paul Engelmeyer of the Southern District of New York said he could not grant the lawmaker's request because the court does not have the authority to supervise the DOJ's compliance with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. So he denied the request. And that was at 4 p.m. Eastern, so about 2 hours ago. Late breaking news.
And will that give him enough time to get to the island by the weekend, or?
Yeah, that's the court has done us some good, but they're not all on our side.
Well,
what are we supposed to do to get these files, Matt?
Well, if it weren't signed by the president himself, I would say absolutely not. But, he signed it, so we must need to have it. And in any case, there is that recent poll where 6% of the public are satisfied with how many files have been released.
6%.
6%.
Can you say mandate? No.
Boy, 6% are satisfied. And so what is it? So there's actually 49% who are unsatisfied. And then the remaining 45% say they're just really not interested. Because, it's always good to have a pedophile rapist as a president, and
in case you need one.
Yeah, so you might as well keep that a secret, right?
Yeah.
And not look into it. Okay, well, let's move on, I gather. And that brings us to our Trump dump.
You love it. I love it.
How lucky.
Everybody's favorite dump.
So can you tell us anything about something that's happened with him lately?
Well, let's see. He attended yet another sporting event. That worked out great for everybody. He went to a college football national championship, and the news coverage I saw was that he addressed the crowd and was booed mercilessly, such that you could not hear what he was saying. And you take your good news where you can get it. So there was that. Did you happen to catch any of that?
Well, I did see something about. I thought it was an Army-Navy game. Is that? I'm not certain which game it was, but I did hear about his attending, and I did hear about the crowd booing again, as they had at a previous game. And there were some videos out that were a comparison of the two crowds to show, how it sounded, and so I did see that much.
I'm saying that it's the coverage I'm seeing shows that it's a national college football playoff national championship in Florida. So no Army, no Navy, to my knowledge.
Gotcha. Okay, well.
So yeah, he keeps going to the game.
Right, and you think in Florida, it would be pretty safe territory for him. You think that he'd
right.
You think he'd have a lot of fans and a lot of folks
A lot
back
of bronzer, a lot of bros, yeah.
So maybe maybe the worm has turned.
That worm took its time.
Yeah. Well, it got lost in RFK's brain.
Yeah. And then,
but
yes.
It is interesting. It is interesting, and being a college game as well. Usually, this is folks who are into college football are more the common clay of the West sort of folks, and are more along the lines of the people you would expect in his base. And so, if they're starting to get that, if it's getting through to them that what he's doing is so wrong, then that's good news.
Penetrating the thickest of skulls, I think you're saying.
Well, I'm saying if it is if it is that crowd, then it's very heartening to see, because
absolutely
everyone's starting to get that message and starting to see that it's not normal for a United States president to declare war on America and send military troops into American cities, and it's not right for an American president to declare war on nations across the country just to be able to rape their resources so that he can have more money and make a nice little nest egg for himself for after presidency. And it's not right to have people who he puts in charge who aren't authorities and who aren't sort of people that should have authority. So and if that's getting across, that's great. I mean, that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it will make it through college football season, and they'll remember it at election time. There's also the story about the 1,500 active duty Army soldiers from up in Alaska who have been put on standby. And this relates to Minnesota, where they're to be sent to help intimidate and go after protesters or support ICE in ICE doing that. And Governor Walz mobilized the National Guard in Minnesota, has about 800 men. So the response to that was the response to that is Trump said, we're going to get 1,500. So we can have more men than you have. But we'll see how that works out with this latest ruling from the Minnesota judge saying you can't have people here just to intimidate people. And how will that work out, since it's the military who shouldn't be in American cities anyway? That's a thing that happened. Any ideas on that? What do you like?
The whole thing sickens me. Summoning troops from here to send them over there, and Alaska to Minnesota. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And it's abuse upon abuse of resources, of citizens, of power, of duty, of responsibility. The whole thing just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and I'll be glad when it's over.
Very good. But I mean, abuse of power. I mean, what are you going to do? Start pardoning criminals and releasing friends? And oh, look at that.
What aren't you going to do, apparently, at this point? What won't they do? It's limited only to their imagination. Certainly not by any guardrails we've left in their way.
Well, and in fact, Trump has pardoned the ex-Puerto Rican governor.
These are people that carried around the Constitution in their pocket like that was their big flex. They would pick it up and wave it at you and tell you what a great American they were and how they believed in the foundational principles of this country. I don't know where they all went. I don't know where they are now. Not so vocal now with the whole Constitution and amendments. And
they joined the NRA guys who used to collect guns because they wanted to stand against a tyrannical government that would be coming for them.
Tyranny, Matt. Yeah. Tyranny.
Yeah. like
they were so self-righteous. They would lecture you piously, oh, you don't understand. I'm a patriot. Oh, blood of tyrants and the tree of liberty. Oh my God. Now where are you? What in the hell? Now you're on the payroll at ICE and you don't want to go out in public anymore. That's fine.
Exactly right. I mean, exactly right. These are the ICE guys. 10 years ago, they were ready to stand against tyranny and die for it, and bought guns monthly just to be able to be ready. And now they're on the payroll of the government.
Brother, it's raining tyranny outside, and these guys can't find a clue.
Yeah. And
Doesn't that just gall you, sister?
Exactly. It does make you wonder. Well, so as I was mentioning, that Trump pardoned the ex-Puerto Rican governor who was indicted in 2022 for bribery and later pled guilty to a lesser campaign finance charge. And there are two other co-defendants, an FBI agent and a banker, who he also pardoned, because why not? Let's make certain that all those folks are out and about, because why wouldn't you have them out there?
Yeah, they're going to be on the cabinet next month when Kristi Noem gets Botox in her carotid artery and Pete Hegseth drowns in whiskey. They're going to need some backup.
Too true. We should take bets on that. Speaking of betting on things that may or may not ever happen.
Yes, sir.
I believe that brings us to the Epstein count-up.
Your favorite time of the week and mine,
exactly,
the Epstein
as you may know, as you may very well know, that we here at PolitiPod Live do keep track of this sort of thing. And this is the number of days that have passed since the unredacted Epstein list has not been released. And
no special master.
No special master on this either. And the number today is 3,872 days and counting up and continuing.
And counting.
As it will go for apparently a very, very long time. Maybe those other 5 million pages will come out and we'll resolve that. And then on the next time they release the same 5 million, they will be unredacted and we can stop the count.
I tell you, Matt, we should just create one final logo with the infinity symbol where the number goes and just run with that. He's gonna go to his grave before that comes out. And this country is completely in a ditch. Anyway, sorry, the cynicism, it's cloying. It's in my throat.
Welling from your heart. I see.
That's right. Bubbling up from my black heart.
Well, on that cheery note, thank you for joining us for PolitiPod Live for Political Talk. You're welcome to join us every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here for PolitiPod Live. If you want political laughs, join us and a half dozen of our friends for our monthly political comedy podcast, PolitiPod. You'll find that at soundcloud.com/PolitiPod. This is Matt Nisanoff.
And I'm Tom Bickle.
Saying good night.